Here we are. Welcome to Blacks in the Burbs. It is Mother's Day Sunday, May 13th, and I hope everyone out there who is a mom has had a fantastic Mother's Day. And all of us have moms at some point in life. Some are with us, some are not. If they are with you, I hope you took very good care of your mom today. If she is not with you, I hope you gave her a good memorial. We are tonight going to have a conversation with a femininity and dating mentor. Did I get that right? Yes, Miss Torah Cents. Hello, Miss Torah. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man. You know what? You are absolutely welcome. Thank you for being on, because we have been looking for someone who can really speak to dating and relationships and love and marriage and give a real perspective versus someone that's really technical. And I love your videos because it really does break it down so basically that you can understand it and you can relate to it. So we appreciate you coming on and sharing all the knowledge that you have with us. Thank you very much. And here we are. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. It was quite a busy Mother's Day.
Yes. I spent the whole weekend trying to figure out how to enjoy Mother's Day doing 8 million things. My husband took me out yesterday, and then today I had to go take care of my mom, and go be with her for Mother's Day. So it's been pretty busy. How about you?
It was good. Yesterday I went to a Mother's Day tea. At our church, they have an annual Mother's Day tea, so we did that. I was an hour late because I went to get my hair done.
Oh, gosh.
Hence the color.
I see the color and the length.
Yeah,
length with an F.
Look, I'm back to copper blonde, so I'm happy now.
Listen, I love me some color, so yes.
So I did that, and yesterday was kind of hectic and intense, but today we went to church, and they took me to get lunch, but they can't drive, so I drove myself, and they paid for it. So that was good. And then my parents and my sister came over, and we just did a little thing here. So everyone just left. So we're winding down for the evening, but winding right back up for the show.
That's right. That's not how it always is. So what are you sipping on tonight?
Just a basic red grocery store wine.
Okay. I love you in the grocery store shopping. I don't know where you are, Torah. I'm about to come to you. But in New York and New Jersey, the tri-state area, you cannot buy your alcohol at the supermarket. So a lot of times, I appreciate Brittany and her one-stop shopping for everything. It's awesome. Yeah. Now, where are you located, Torah?
I am located in St. Louis.
Oh, okay. Do you do the one-stop shopping for the liquor and the groceries?
Pretty much.
Oh, wow. You have no idea. That's like amazing. That's amazing. Well, cheers to you. Tonight I'm sipping on a little bit of a lime and watermelon seltzer. It's not alcoholic. I just feel like winding down, like really winding down. So what are you sipping on tonight, Torah?
Apple cinnamon tea.
Oh, she's going to give us the tea with some tea. I love it. Apple cinnamon tea. I've never even heard about it. Have you heard of apple cinnamon tea?
I actually had some yesterday at the tea.
What brand is that? It sounds really good. What brand is it?
Well, I primarily like to drink Harney's and Sons. That is my favorite. Now, that doesn't have apple in it, but it's cinnamon, and it really wakes me up in the morning.
Oh.
I don't really remember the kind that I'm drinking now. I know it has that teddy bear on it.
So, it might be the Celestial Custom.
It is the Celestial.
That one.
That's it.
The teddy bear tea. We got the teddy bear tea. Okay. So this weekend, how was your Mother's Day, Torah?
It was good. I really just laid in the bed. My husband went and got me breakfast, but we really don't do too much. We just got back in town from a trip to Memphis in May, late last night.
Okay.
So today was kind of like we just wind down. We don't really do too much.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, listen, it looks like we're live, and I do want to start having that conversation about what we initially wanted to have this show about, which is about love and marriage and relationships. And again, I mean, a lot of the comments that you have made and that I have watched you speak about have been so relatable. And I wanted you to share with our audience some of your insights. So tell us a little bit about yourself first and who you are, what you do, and then you can share with us your insights.
Oh, well, so for those who don't know me, my name is Simone Thomas Blakely, but I go by the name of Torah Cents online. I pretty much, I help women live for God and love the life that they live. And I pretty much do that by providing practical solutions that help them get them closer to their goals without them having to compromise with their faith. And I do this with my femininity and dating mentorship primarily is what I do. And I range the topics that I pretty much talk about is what I see a lot of the struggles with women when it comes to relationships, and not specifically romantic, but specifically female friendships. I think there's a sore spot there. I talk about that. I talk about struggles with overcoming, single motherhood, the struggles that come along with that, because I used to be a teen mom myself. I talk about marriage, and not necessarily marriage as in, oh my gosh, like I have all the answers and I know how to make marriages just work and survive. I ain't been married that long, so I don't even act like that. I primarily just talk about, okay, you want to get married? Here's how to get married. And here's what here's the purpose of marriage and what you should be looking for in a man when you're looking to be married. Those are the things that I primarily stick with my expertise. And then femininity, not in a concept of what can femininity do for me, because a lot of times we talk about tapping in femininity because, it's going to make you feel better and you're going to attract everything. You're going to be a sexual goddess and you're just going to be so awesome and amazing. But how can you harness your femininity to change the world? How can you tap in your femininity to change your community, to change your home, to improve, more than yourself? Because as a queen, I should be able to create other queens. I should be able to nurture an environment to help other people. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Nice.
Okay. So how did you start doing the whole YouTube video, social media thing? Like, when did you become that person that shared it with others, shared your advice with others?
It first started back in early 2011. And I basically was getting hit up for, I guess, advice for the things that I've learned. Again, I started as a teen mom. I ended up, going to college, getting 3 bachelor's degrees. I ended up just leaving poverty from what I came from. And so I would get a lot of people hit me up for advice. Okay, Torah, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? At the time it was small. It was Torah wasn't there. And I said, what? I am going to create a YouTube channel to help women get to the point where I am. Just get to where I am. You don't have to be, all the way up there if you can just help someone get to where you are. I didn't want to be an expert or a guru. It's just like, let me just talk about my issues and how to get them there. And so I started off the channel talking about some issues that I found in the church, because that's one of the first things that I had to get out of my system in order to get where I needed to be, is to get a lot of that churchy religiosity that comes about within church. I call it churchianity, that causes a lot of women to miss out on a lot of opportunities because of false doctrine, because of made up sins, oppression. And so I attacked that first. And from then, I just got really popular off of that.
Okay.
And one of my videos, I started changing my messaging when I noticed that men started using my videos to bash women. And I'm like, if my videos are being used to attack women, then my tone is off. My messaging is off. And so that's when I flipped the script and I'm like, okay, let me speak to women in a way that I'm specifically helping them, and men can't turn this around and start bashing women with it. And so that's where I started really focusing on femininity, that concept.
Okay. Very interesting. So I guess for me, the one video that stuck out for me was the one that I had contacted you about, which was, marrying for building.
Why I didn't marry for love?
Yeah. I mean, it really did. I felt very relating to that. And I think a lot of it is because I got married older. Mm-hmm. And I think I had a lot more knowledge in terms of what I wanted in a man because of where I was in my life at that point. And so for me, it would have to be someone who would complement my life and help us grow together from building versus finding, you know, someone that I'm like goo goo gaga in love over, because that was easy to find. You know, there's a lot of men out there you can go Google over, but finding somebody that you know that the two of you together can like kind of build was something that both of us felt. And so I really appreciated that video. And I guess my question for you was, what were some of the negative comments that you got about that? Because even in conversation with people, a lot of people that I know, they don't have the same feelings about it, or either they're not able to really think it through that way, but that's pretty much what we all do, right? So I just wonder what were some of the negative things that you heard, because I heard a few. So,
you know, one of the biggest negative pieces of criticism is that I'm a gold digger. I'm all about me. That is just one of the biggest things, and they fail to realize that the reason why I believe the way I believe is to sacrifice for the greater good. Is to make sure that I am building and leaving wealth and legacy to my future generations. Is to make sure that I'm able to have enough to where I can support the what's in my community. How can I help others if I can't help myself? You know what I mean? And so it's all about me, us focusing on how can we change the world around us. It's not about me as much as it is about changing what the community around me and then my future legacy.
Yeah, and that's how I felt, because I know that we're only like 3 or 4 generations away from slavery. And when you look at the history and how much we have to catch up, you know, it's just really important for us to focus on not just being in love, but other things so that we can all grow as a people. So I totally heard where you were coming from. And I, you know, there's some pushback on some end, but there are a lot of people who agreed with me. But I really appreciated your video because I felt like it engaged a lot of conversation around that topic. And hopefully it changed some minds.
Yeah, I got tons of inboxes about how it changed their perspective and how they, you know, people who aren't even married yet, it just changed their view on dating and how they're going to move forward. And then married women, it was kind of bittersweet with them because some of them they did marry for love and they were kind of stuck in some certain situations. And I guess they wanted me to approve their divorce. I'm like, nah, that's not what you know, just work with what you have, you know, and pass it down to your children now that you know better, you know, pass it down to the people that you mentor now that you know better.
Right.
So I actually saw the videos in reverse. I saw the follow-up one where you addressed the negative comments that came where people really misconstrued the message that you were trying to send. Because I'll be honest, to that point, before seeing the videos in reverse, the way that it had been put to me that it was the marrying for wealth. I didn't hear all the other pieces of it. So I was like, I don't really know. So I went and raided your Instagram and I found the video where you followed up to the original video, and then I went back and watched it. So I do think it's worth it to, when we're sharing the information, to either make sure that we're sharing it as clearly as you did, but just to be open enough to understand. Because I do think, I don't think there's very many people that do marry just for love. I have a very close friend of mine who, while she's not married, when they did get together, he didn't have anything, you know, she had her own stuff going on, not that easy on the eyes. So, I mean, at that point, really, it is just love, because what else is there? But then there's others that, you know, maybe looking for companionship, or they have things to bring to the table to help or to work on the building aspect of it. So I know for me, even though I did watch it in reverse, I got it. So I appreciate that being put out there, because I think there's a whole lot that comes with that. But
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I completely agree. And I wanted to make sure that I was conveying that. And even in that video that I put, I was like, I'm not even sure if I conveyed it right, you know, to where people can see this isn't about me gold digging. And even though I mentioned so many things in my video about what I was looking for, people just honed in on money. I never even mentioned money. at all. I said resources.
Right.
I said being able to cultivate resources, because at the end of the day, we don't really want money. We want what money can get us. You know what I mean? And if we can shortcut that, that is what my focus is on. So I don't even mention money, you know? Right. But what I've been realizing, because I do have a group, it's like 13, almost 14,000 women. And when we would have topics about, hey, we would talk about marrying, and they were like, well, he doesn't have to have this. He doesn't have this. All we need is love. And I'm just like, okay, what does that mean? Because to me, I feel like that love can't even be proven until marriage is marriage.
Absolutely.
It's only feelings and chemicals up until you working through that marriage. You can't even prove that you love this man the way that you're saying until we're working through that marriage.
Yeah.
It's interesting that was even the point, because we don't even want to be friends with people who can't even afford to go where we want to go. It's like, oh, I got to split this tab with you. Oh, we can't go to well, I don't have Blue Martini here anymore. They closed it. But, oh, we can only go to Blue Martini and happy hour because that's what you're willing to spend. So I don't understand. Like,
probably, I don't know, maybe because my audience is predominantly like from a religious community, and that might mean something. So yeah, I think it's like all we need is, because that was a second criticism. It's like, oh, God needs to be at the head, and you know, your man need to have Jesus, and you focus on the wrong things. You didn't say anything about Jesus, and I'm like, look. Having Jesus don't mean that you're smart. It doesn't mean that you're intelligent. It doesn't mean that you're resourceful. It doesn't mean that you have good conflict management. It doesn't mean any of that, you know? So that's what I didn't.
Yeah. And I will share that, you know, when me and my husband got married, we did a prenuptial agreement, and it was a conversation that we had because both of us had already been at a certain point in our lives. We got married older. In that prenup, you list everything. You list what assets you have, what liabilities you have, what inheritance you might get. You know, everything was listed there, and it was out in the open. We got so much flack for doing that. And because they're like, oh, you're already planning a divorce. But the irony about it is that in a 10-year period, I have watched so many relationships of people who had said that to us crumble, and they found themselves in situations that probably could have been avoided had they had those conversations up front. You know what I mean? Very similar to right now, I'm having conversations about inheritance with my family. And, you know, my mother's still with us, but it's a conversation that we have to have now because honestly, like when she's gone, it's us and we'll be fighting, and I don't want to fight with my family, you know? So, I mean, they're very tough conversations to have. It does kind of take away the whole love word, but they're important conversations to have. And I feel like it doesn't take away from my belief and my faith in God and my love of having Christianity in my home. But it is an honest conversation that we're having with paper in front of us, that to me, it just has to happen. It's not the most pleasant conversation, but it had to happen. You know, me and him were mediating before we got married. It had to happen. You know, we both needed to know what was going on. Wanted your thoughts on that, and also the D word, the divorce word. Like, how do you kind of craft your conversation to women who are divorced? You mentioned that a little bit just in that a second ago, but how do you craft your conversation to divorced women about, this whole love thing and how they should marry for love or marry for building when maybe that sort of thing didn't work for them in the past?
Well, number one, I let them know off the bat, this isn't my specialty to talk about what you went through in your divorce and how you came about doing it. So I will direct them to somebody who can help them that has actually been through it or has worked with people who have been divorced. And then two, I talk about the dynamics of, okay, getting back out there in terms of finding a new mate.
Okay.
You don't want to be stuck not dating for long. I wouldn't say no more than a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get complacent. And also a lot of that feminine energy, it starts to deplete once you start getting complacent, and it's harder to come back. If you are sitting on the sidelines year after year after year, after a situation like that, after like a breakup or a divorce. And that's pretty much what I do, but my expertise is limited in terms of addressing what happened in their divorce. I more so come in as, okay, how can we get you back out there?
Got you. All right.
So I have a question. I know we're talking about, big bad D words, but how would you say, how would your thoughts differ when it comes to death? Because if we're talking about building and whether it's solely for love, a majority for love, or the latter, would you say the same thing with that time frame? If you're sitting on the shelf, you can get dusty, or, are there some different things that you take into consideration when advising women who have the unfortunate circumstance of dealing with that?
Yeah, there's always exceptions to the rules. If it's death, I would redirect them to counseling and therapy, because I don't have all the answers. I pretty much stick with what I know, and if I don't know it, I do like to network to where I can redirect them to get the information that they need, so I don't mess things up.
Well, I fully respect that, because, there's some people who want to have all the answers, but I appreciate that, because no answer is better than a bad one.
I like to redirect, I redirect all the time. That's why I love meeting new people. So I'm like, oh, you're a contact? So I can redirect the people where they need to go.
Right. So tell us a little bit about your book now.
Oh, okay. So my, one of the books that I've made and that we're going to, I guess, talk about today is The Art of Questioning Men. And The Art of Questioning Men, you can find at gethimtotalk.com. And it pretty much is about basically getting inside of a man's head without giving him your heart. Because a lot of times when we're out here and we're engaging with men, we open ourselves up so much to where we give men so much of us, and we don't even know what's going on with them. And so, and that helps, that marrying for feelings, that marrying for dopamine and that serotonin because of that. So we're actually marrying a man. We don't really understand how he thinks. We don't understand his values. We don't understand his character, his convictions. We don't understand even who he, his, the people in his life that are most important to him. But we have all these feelings, we're so attached. And so The Art of Questioning Men is basically tactically the art of strategic questioning to qualify men with confidence, get the clarity that they need and the answers that they deserve from men. And from The Art of Questioning Men, a lot of what I reinforce is conversation. So what I teach in this book is conversational magic. And conversational magic, when a woman is able to create safe and himself and just want to share a piece of him. And it also creates an emotional connection between you and him, which is what gets men to want to commit in the first place. So that is what The Art of Questioning Men is all about.
Okay, awesome. Well, you also had a story about how single women should approach married men, which I thought was very interesting. Because I have quite a few single girlfriends, and they're all like, looking, and, my husband a lot of times is the only married guy in the area, and, but I feel like they're very respectful. But what are your thoughts on that? Like, just having a lot of friends that are single when I'm married.
I think it's great if there's proper boundaries and there is proper understanding of your role in their lives. Yeah, I think a lot of times once we have a relationship status change, it's like, okay, now we have to disperse. Well, I can't have single friends. But now as in your femininity, your role in that area could be a role of influence.
Okay.
Mentorship. They see how you live, how your husband and you guys interact. That means a lot. And that meant a lot for me as someone who was a single mom who wanted to be married. All my friends were married, and I made sure that the majority of my friends were married because I was a single mom, and I didn't want my son to normalize teen momship or single motherhood. And so he really didn't even know what single motherhood really was, except that I was the weird one,
Wow.
And So a lot of my married friends were like, all right, Simone, what you got on today? You need to get out of the house. Why your hair look like this? You know, and from there, their husbands served as a hedge of protection, as a wisdom piece, and their husbands actually helped me get married. In terms of, one of them flew out, because I was living in North Carolina at the time, and him and her, like, he was the spearhead of flying out to meet my future husband, to meet him in St. Louis, where I live right now, because we met on Facebook, by the way. Okay. That's another story. But he flew out, like, he actually approved our marriage, him and another guy, and it took like a year for them to be like, all right, you can marry her. But it was basically like, when they flew up there, my husband was like, can I marry her now? And they're like, no. What's going on with health insurance? You know, what's going on with this? What kind of, she's got a community here. What kind of community you got up there? What does your support circle look like up there? Do you have men that you're accountable to? And they were like, until we know these, no, you can't marry her. So they played an extremely important role in me getting married. And one of the women just invited me to Jamaica with her husband. She was married the whole time, but she was instrumental in helping me get married and making sure I ain't go out the house looking a mess, and making sure that I was always presentable. And she invited us a few weeks ago, and we'll be there the end of May, just hanging out with her and her husband, me and my husband.
I can really appreciate that, because I think sometimes when I say, and I'll go out on the ledge and say, a lot of times I think when women get married, we put ourselves on this pedestal that, okay, now we're the married ones, and poor little single, dusty fast you, and you stay over there with your single self, and I'm gonna be over here with my husband and my married. And we get really, I know you've seen it. I don't know how active you are on social media, because I only have so much time, but they made it a big thing when Sierra had what she had to say about being married. And I just feel like I've heard so many times that, oh, well, married people shouldn't have single friends. Oh, well, you got to go get married friends. And it's like, I think sometimes we don't realize how much influence we can have on other people, even if it's just sharing experiences, but being careful to share the experience, because I don't feel like everybody should know what's going on in your house. Don't tell so much that, people want to sneak a peek and try to see what's going on. But I just, in this village, I think we should get more in the habit of sharing than I, me, because we want to share and reach out when things are wrong, but we don't want to share when things are right to help other people along. So I've never understood the whole, oh, well, you're married, you shouldn't have single friends, and whatever the case may be. Because my thought process is this: if your single friends are a worry now, then maybe your single friends were always bad. Maybe they didn't have no behavior, and now that's that's another problem within itself. But I just wish I would see more women just, nurture and share and want to, spread all that positivity, because there's something to learn from everyone.
I think it's a huge part of expressing your femininity. But go ahead, I'm sorry, New Jersey.
No, I totally agree with everything that Florida said. And, at my age, I had built up a whole big network of friends that we traveled together, did things together, and it felt sad the first couple of years, not because I tried to distance myself, but because I had my baby right away, and I was missing those friendships so much because I was so, busy with my child. I moved into the burbs, and gaining them back now and being able to go out with them and do things with them makes me so much happier. It makes me feel so fulfilled. They come to my son's baseball games. It's just such a nice, thing that I have that I would hate for anyone to tell me I can't do it. Because, every once in a while, my husband's like, you shouldn't be having a whole bunch of single friends. But then I think he sees how happy I am when I have, that, and it makes him happy. So.
Yeah, I truly believe that as women, that are like what Florida said about sharing, you can't influence people if you don't have a connection, an emotional connection. And if you can't have an emotional connection without being relatable. You can't be relatable without being transparent in a lot of areas. And you can't be transparent if you don't share. Mm-hmm. A lot of us like to hold things in. And like you say, we ain't supposed to share everything with everybody. There are certain things you share with certain people. Again, there's certain people. I have mentors, peer relationships, and mentee relationships. And there's certain things I share with each of them that I don't share with all of them. Yeah. Based upon the relationship.
Yeah. So, feel like after 10 years of marriage, I have learned that nothing beats learning it through application. I don't think I would ever have been prepared for marriage through books and through learning from different people like Torah the way I did being actually in the marriage for 10 years. That's where all the learning comes from. And I appreciate that because there's a lot of things that I learned about my husband that I actually love. He's such a family guy. He is, you know, he does everything for his family. He's all about it. He's all about home. When we moved into the home, I saw a different person because mowing the lawn for him is a hobby. He loves mowing the lawn. I didn't know all of that about. Like, there's things that you learn about people as you go along that, you know, that you can really appreciate. And, you know, and then with God's blessings, love and marriage will stay in your sights, you know. Amen to that. And Torah, you are back. So thank you. I don't know if anybody has any questions for us, but I think we can conclude tonight unless there's anything else you wanted to share with us.
Guys, I just thank you for just having me on, and I think the Burbs for bringing me on. I had such a really good time. It just went so fast. I enjoyed it so much, and looking forward to the next time I'm on here.
All right. Okay. Yes, we love a good shimmy. We love a good shimmy. Now, tell everybody where they can find you and tell them about your book, and then we'll say good night.
Okay. You can find me everywhere, Torah Cents, on everything. Okay, pretty much TORAHCENTS on everything. And you can find my book at gethimtotalk.com. That is gethim2talk.com. It's the art of questioning men. Go ahead and copy a copy. Unless you are a winner of a giveaway, then you will get a free link to download for free. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Torah, and cheers to you. Have a fantastic week. All right. Bye-bye.